Alright everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I am Sean and this is In The Mixer as we continue our Football's Coming Home Challenge with AFC Bournemouth. Really enjoying the save in the series so far. I hope you guys are as well. Just super excited to load up this game and play it as much as humanly possible. One of the limitations I've encountered though is Australian internet is absolutely shit, so uploading an episode is taking me like the best part of a day. Obviously that's something that we need to work on and be mindful of, but I'm really keen to start getting episodes up pretty much every day between now and the end of the season. Obviously that's going to be tough, but at least we aim for as many as humanly possible and then go from there, and then hopefully the internet doesn't entirely crush us or crash or drop out. I'm looking at the router now. Well, maybe I should spring for a better internet provider. That's fine. These are all decisions that I need to make on my own. First and foremost, wanted to give a huge shout out to... Also, for those who haven't seen it yet, I did put up a video on the channel outlining what I want to do with the FM19 beta, and that we're going to be doing a German Bundesliga save with Hamburg FC. But we also got our first comment. Tommy Triangle wrote, "Now that is a level of commitment that makes me have to subscribe. Hashtag Hamburglar FC." Of course, in reference to the fact that I'll be doing that save while wearing a Hamburglar costume from McDonald's. Just because, I don't know, keep your mouth shut on Twitter is the moral of the story. But thank you so much to him, not just for commenting, but also liking and getting involved with the content. I really do appreciate it. If you do put any comments on any videos, I will respond to them or I will make reference to them. And then maybe one day down the track when we have enough, I'll do a weekly comment show or something like that. So a huge thank you to Tommy Triangle and to anybody else that happens to comment on future videos. I'll give them a shout out as well. But as far as Bournemouth are concerned, let's look at some of the top performers. Ashley Barnes, obviously, top goal scorer, 24 goals, is absolutely fantastic from him. Summer signing from Burnley, paid next to nothing for him, so he's a decent one for you guys to look at picking up in your own saves as well. He's also got our highest average rating with a 7.62, considering he's played most of our 30 odd games, including FA Cups. That's a fantastic return. Jordan Ibe with most assists. He is injured at the moment, will be out for a couple of weeks, but I think he has a couple. I think he's a couple ahead of the next person, so great return from him. Best pass completion, Andrew Sermon, 83% in our deep line defensive playmaker role. And Steve Cook with the most player of the match awards with 6 to his name. Absolutely fantastic. Discipline, not too worried about. It is what it is. It happens throughout the course of the year and we play a pretty aggressive press, so that's absolutely fine. Looking at some of the promises we still have to uphold. Mark Pugh, just don't sell him. That's an easy one. Callum Wilson, I'll offer a new contract at the end of the season. And then Nick Pope, of course, he's only been at the club for about 6 weeks, but he left Burnley wanting to play more. We haven't played him at all, and he already wants to leave again. So maybe we have to look at bringing in like a younger player to sit on the bench and be that second choice behind Jack Butland. But that's fine. That's a problem that we'll deal with over the course of the off-season. Now, our schedule has changed a little bit. So the games you guys didn't see was a 0-0 draw with Brighton. We had more than enough chances to actually win this game. Ryan Sessegnon and Lewis Cook were fantastic. Maguire and Cook were fantastic at the back. They didn't have a ton of opportunities. Yes, Andrew Sermon got sent off, but it was late on. We just didn't take them. We didn't take our chances. That's effectively what happened. We created quite a bit, but just didn't find that conversion rate. Neither Barnes or Ings had the best game of their careers, but they've been great so far. So I'll let that one slide. It happens. Then in the next match, Huddersfield started to hit a little bit of form. Danny Ings and Ashley Barnes both scored doubles, and Steve Mooney pulled a goal back for them in the 85th minute. Really decent performance. Dan Gosling did pick up a knock in that game, but otherwise nothing really to complain about. Then we played our chief rivals, Southampton. A 1-1 draw. Danny Ings put us up in the first half. Charlie Austin pegged one back for them in the second. I do think a draw was a fair result, but we did have the highest performing players. And given that it was a rivalry, there is a bit of niggle in this game. You can see we had 7 yellow cards across our starting 11, and I just tried to make subs to keep up with that, and it meant we got a little bit disjointed, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but you know, those 2 draws automatically kind of see us drop back down into 9th position. We're not out of the European conversation by any stretch. A couple of wins in this episode and we're going to be right back up there amongst the likes of Crystal Palace, Tottenham, Leicester, Liverpool. The downside is the only team that we have to play this season that's in that group is Crystal Palace on the last day, so that game will be super important for us away at Selhurst Park. But really, there's a lot of results here that we should expect to get. Chelsea will be tough, but Everton we should be beating, Swansea we should be beating. Arsenal will be tough, Watford we can beat, West Ham we can beat, Man City will be tough, Crystal Palace we can beat. So even if we just got one decent result against a Chelsea, Arsenal or Man City, I think that puts us in a really good position for our run home to get back into the European places, which would be a phenomenal return given the amount of transfers we made in the off-season and the amount of really decent first-team players that have left the club this season. just purely based on them not being English nationals. But enough talking from me, let's jump into the Charlton game here and we'll go through the team. We're going to go with Butland in goal, of course, Mings and Cook at the fullbacks. Both have been fantastic. Steve Cook, as noted, has won the most player of the match awards this season, and he hasn't complained about being shifted out to fullback to accommodate Harry Maguire, who will partner Ben Gibson in the centre of defence. Cook and Sermon as our midfield duo. Sessegnon on the left wing, who has been one of our highest performers over the last month. Grealish will play on the right with Jordan Ibe still injured. Barnes and Ings up top. Callum Wilson is still working his way back from injury, but he's like at least another 2 weeks away, I think. So Defoe will be his deputy on the bench. But super straightforward. We're playing League One opposition. We don't actually have League One loaded up in this game. It's just the Premier League. So it remains to be seen. They'll either be at peak fitness and form, or they'll struggle a little bit because they haven't been playing regular games. So looking at their side, they've got ex-United Ben Amos in goal, Jay De Silva, who looks like he's on loan from Chelsea at left back, Solly on the right, Pearson Bower will be the central defensive partnership for them, Forster, Kasky and Konsa in the middle. Forster Kasky was a phenomenal player in like Football Manager 2012, 2013. I think I had like an old Blythe Spartan save that he was absolutely phenomenal on. Foster on the left wing, Marshall on the right, Clark will play at the 10, and another ex-United guy in Nicky Ajos up front. So pretty much straight 4-4-2s against each other. They are playing the man in the hole, but I don't think that matters too much. And I'm just going to say, assertively, the media have given you a lot of credit. Go out and put on a worthy display. All I really want is a continuation of our current form, which hasn't been too bad so far this season. They're going to kick off now, so we have to get used to them being in the red with the black outline. So we're wearing our blue kit today. If I do get confused and accidentally say they've done something, please feel free to destroy me in the comment section below. Harry Maguire's already picked up a yellow card. It's his 5th yellow card of the season, which I actually think puts him out of the next game, which means we probably look at Cook coming into the centre and maybe bringing on Francis or Adam Smith. Mings with the throw in now, back to Lewis Cook. It's a deep ball across, Grealish goes up. Do they have a counter-attack on here? Fosu's carrying the ball forward. Sermon was tracking him. It looks like we're going to recover through Mings. And do we have more on here? Ball to Ings, through to Barnes. Can he find the finish? It's straight at the keeper. And Amos does well to turn that one around the post. So decent signs. Grealish with the corner in now. It's cleared only as far as Marshall. Comes back out to Mings on halfway, and that's it. So that was a nothing highlight. Why even bother showing us that one? Disappointing to have a corner taker that can't beat the first man, though. You're a Premier League footballer, and I'm paying you like 40 grand a week. What are you doing? Okay, half an hour gone now, or 28 minutes gone now. Ball with Cook on the right-hand side. He plays the ball across to Lewis Cook at the top of the 18-yard box, and his first-time shot is well and truly over. Would have been very good had it gone in, but the technique let him down. Goal kick now from Amos. It's cleared over the halfway. Ayos Gibson heads away. Forced to Kasky with the ball now. Long ball forward towards Fosu, but it's cut out well by Steve Cook. Looks like De Silva, oh no, he didn't play on. I thought maybe it was through the back kind of foul there. Joe's with the ball now on the left-hand side. Or right-hand side for Charlton, left-hand side for us. Forced to Kasky with the ball, plays forward to Clark. Joe's gotten in behind, and thankfully his drive is just wide of the goal. It looked like he had Butland beaten. Long ball forward now. Bower with the header. It's pushed forward to Marshall. Joe's gotten in behind again, and thankfully Butland comes out well and has a decent save. They've had the better of it in these highlights at least. Here we go, we're going to see the corner. Force Kasky to take. Fosu comes back out to him. It's a deep ball across, but leads to nothing, and that will be a goal kick. So looking at the stat line here, 4 shots apiece. We've had 3 on target to their 1. They've had more of the ball, which I guess is kind of to be expected at the Valley, but they are 2 divisions below us, which is a bit disappointing. Some of our players aren't necessarily performing that well. Maybe we'll get to half-time and have a look at a couple of changes, or at least be able to say that simply wasn't good enough. No need to fly off the handle. It's not like we're doing anything wrong. I've completely forgotten to do a team talk, which is interesting. I think I just held down the mouse a little bit too long. So we'll give it another 15 minutes. Here's Marshall with a free kick to Fosu at the top of the box. He plays it across to De Silva, who has a strike. And while it was at the goal, it looks like it was pretty much over. God, it's been the longest time since I've ever accidentally clicked through a team talk. Way too eager to be getting out there. A couple of players have responded not poorly to it, so maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. If we get a goal here, I'll definitely just be quiet for the rest of the season. Sermon with the ball now. Played forward to Cook. Ings has the ball, crosses it to Barnes, and it looks like Pearce has cut him off, and Ashley Barnes is going to take a penalty here. Not sure if it was a push or a tackle, but prevented him going for the ball. What's Ashley Barnes going to do? Goes straight down the middle and into the roof of the net. Amos dove to the right. Don't know what these guys are doing, getting in the keeper's face, but pretty much straight down the middle penalty. Good result. and he gets right amongst it, celebrating in front of the Charlton fans there. So that puts us a goal up with an hour pretty much played. We might have a look at a couple of subs here. Harry Maguire, unfortunately, has already picked up that yellow, so there's no use in taking him off. Jack Grealish doesn't look like he's having the greatest game, so I'll give Gina Stanislas a run out. Tyrone Mings isn't playing that well either, so we'll give Charlie Daniels some time. Both have been incredibly patient in terms of waiting for opportunities and stuff, so they deserve an opportunity to do a little bit more, and I have faith in them to do well. We might leave it till the last 10 minutes and then probably take Danny Ings off and give Jermaine Defoe a run out. He's working his way back from injury, so getting some match sharpness in him can only help. And he's set to a key player status, but he's been so good about being that almost fourth choice striker. You'd think once Wilson comes back into it and gets back into match fitness again, Ings might drop to the bench, unless Ings is going to do some crazy stuff. We got another penalty here. Is that what's just happened? We do, and it looks like it'll be Charlie Daniels to step off the bench and take it. There'll be no double for Ashley Barnes today. Oh, and the keeper saved it. Why would Daniels take it then? Just give it to Ashley Barnes. He just goes straight down the middle. He never misses them. That is absolutely horrendous from him. And he immediately drops to a 6.5. You could have the greatest game of your life, but they're going to take a couple of points off you if you ever miss a penalty in these games. Into the last 10 minutes now, so we might just look to do that change for Defoe. Just give him 10 as he works his way back from injury, and Ings can be the man to miss out, who hasn't done a tremendous amount today at all. Did put the cross in for the first penalty that we won, but otherwise, he is struggling to finish against League One. So Daniels with the ball now to Sermon, to Cook. It's a long ball forward towards Stanislas, but they managed to get it away. Cook will recover. He's got time. Can he pick out the right man in the box? He looks for Ings, but it's overhit. Sessegnon has an overlapping run in Daniels, and he looks for the cross, but it's only going to lead to a corner in the 86th minute. And we're not even going to see that corner. We're just going to see the substitute. That's pretty much it. So we're into extra time now. It hasn't been the most entertaining fixture of all time, but with 3 minutes added on, do we have time here to add another? No. Bauer goes up unchallenged. Defoe with the ball, and Defoe finds a strike, so it wasn't just the end of the game. Jermaine Defoe scores his first goal after a long injury layoff, and did it just say it was against his former team? Oh well, whatever, that's fine. Stanislas with a deep ball in, no one challenges Bauer, which is disappointing. Sessegnon just plays it back to Defoe, he takes a touch, gets it on his left, and I believe Ben Amos may have been breakdancing at the time, so difficult to make saves in that situation. And surely this is just the end of the game and a solid 2-0 win away from home. It is. The referee's called full time. Bournemouth were always in control. Very true. 18 shots to 8 for Charlton. 9 to 4. They won the foul count. We won the yellow cards, and they just shaded possession, but we were away from home. It is what it is. Even against the lower league side. Harry Maguire gets player of the match. It's frustrating that he picked up that yellow card. And for whatever reason, Danny Williams at teamtalk.com thought Premier League Bournemouth, who are currently in the discussion for European places, were going to go to penalties with League One Charlton. What a dick. Just going to say, a good win for us. Well done, lads. What we might do is jump forward to the draw for the FA Cup semi-finals. There's still some decent teams in there. The likes of Leicester, who tore us apart with Jamie Vardy. The Tottenham's in there, and we're going toe-to-toe with them in the league. Both Manchester teams. Arsenal's in there as well. So if we're going to get through to the final, there are going to be some decent sides that we have to beat. So we'll jump ahead to the draw for the semi-finals now. Okay, so here we go, jumping ahead to FA Cup. It looks like Arsenal beat Man United in a decent game. Leicester got past Tottenham, and Man City, as we already saw, beat Southampton pretty comfortably. So, of these teams, Man City beat us, Arsenal beat us, and Jamie Vardy scored a hat-trick against us the last time we played Leicester. So, not a great result. I'm just hoping... Oh no, it won't be a home draw either, because they'll be at Wembley. Anyway, let's just see what happens, and we'll deal with it as it goes through. So it looks like the first team out of the hat is Leicester at home against Arsenal. So we'll be playing Man City at Wembley, which is terrifying. They obviously have a phenomenal squad. Our last two results against them were... Not two results, one result, because we only played them once, was a 1-1 draw back at the end of December during that Christmas episode. Dan Gosling with an 84th minute equaliser. They were very good in this one, if I remember correctly. Going to be a very interesting couple of games. But we have to focus on Chelsea coming up in our next match. So again, through the magic of editing, we'll jump forward to that game. Alright, and just like that, we have jumped forward an entire week. There was an international break in that time, so I do think it's important to have a look at how the English team structure is actually doing. Gareth Southgate is still in charge. Jack Butland, currently starting goalkeeper for the national side, ousting Jordan Pickford. And Harry Maguire was called up and earned his first cap in their last series of friendlies. Still no cap for Ashley Barnes, but he has been in the last couple of squads, which is super exciting to see three players from our team and all players that were picked up on the transfers actually getting into that squad and doing really well. So that's pretty exciting. Looking at the English under-21 side, Lewis Cook's playing in the centre of that midfield, and Sessegnon came off the bench in those games as well. He's been in pretty solid form over the last 5 games. These would all be club appearances. This one would be his one appearance off the bench where he still managed a 6.7. So good to see exciting youngsters coming through, and we are keeping an eye on quite a few of these players for when their contracts actually finish up. Speaking of, there's some decent players that either have contracts that are coming to an end, or they're on the transfer list, or they're loan listed. So guys like Ross Barkley we'll have a look at, Andy Carroll we've already had a look at, Shawcross we've had a look at, Leighton Baines is available, Jack Wilshere would be amazing if we can get him. But it looks like we're going to have some decent options to look at in the off-season once we have transfer budgets established for next year. But again, enough talking from me. Let's go and have a look at our team selection for this particular game. Only injury concern to be worried about is Danny Ings, who is currently 7 days out. I might put him on the bench, and I kind of don't want to start Jermaine Defoe, so I'm going to go with Callum Wilson. We'll do Callum Wilson for an hour and then bring Ings on for the last 30 minutes, regardless of what actually takes place in the game. And it's purely based on the fact that Callum Wilson's obviously working his way back from injury and has a long injury history, and Danny Ings is currently injured and not at 100%. So I don't really want to risk either of them too much, so I'll try and split up their minutes within this game. Butland in goal, Mings and Cook on the fullback. Mings and Cook as the two fullbacks, Gibson and Maguire as a central midfield partnership, Sessegnon on the left, Grealish on the right, Cook and Sermon in the middle, and Barnes and Wilson up top. Probably our strongest lineup that we could field in this game. Now let's have a look at how Chelsea are lining up. Still managed by Antonio Conte, so we'll have a look if they're using the 3 at the back. They are. Courtois in goal, Cahill, Luiz and Rudiger as their back 3. Alonso and Zappacosta as the fullback. Zappacosta's a beast in this game, as is Marcos Alonso. Fabregas will play as a deep line playmaker, Kante as the ball winning midfielder alongside him. Hazard and Pedro as the inside forwards, and Olivier Giroud as the big target man up top. As far as English talent goes, there's not a tremendous amount taking place at Chelsea at the moment. Only Gary Cahill in the starting lineup is of English nationality, and I think Danny Drinkwater is the only person they've got on the bench as well. So, yeah, it is what it is. Kind of the reverse of what we're trying to do. Let's passionately say, we owe Chelsea after what happened in our last match. Let's go and get revenge, and we'll go to the tunnel. Skip past those questions from the media and kick off this game. I would love to get back-to-back victories in this episode. Being that we are in March, really only 6 weeks of the season remaining. There's a lot of games still to be played though. Once you take into account our cup run and a couple of the games that have been rescheduled against Arsenal and against Watford now because of our FA Cup semi-final. And thankfully a lot of players are in decent fitness. I do expect there'll be a couple of yellow card suspensions to come through. I thought Harry Maguire was going to be out of this game, but apparently he's not. So not sure if FA Cup yellow cards don't count or if it counts for that particular competition. But we'll see what happens. If he's suspended for the game against Man City, then we know why. Looking at the table now, there looks as though Tottenham are kind of drawing ahead based on their goal difference ahead of this pack. Liverpool have jumped right back up, though they do have played a game more than us on 50 points. Love to get either a point or 3 points in this game to take us to 49, and then we have the ability to leapfrog them with our games in hand, but that hasn't gone well at all. Steve Cook, I think it was, has tried to clear the ball, and he's either cleared it into Giroud, and it's pinballed around. It'd be good to see this one in 3D and see what actually happened. Fabregas with the corner. It's headed forward by Zappacosta. Cook clears it away, and he just clears it into Olivier Giroud. I burped halfway through that, or it made me sick. Long ball forward now from Barnes. Towards Cook. Looks for Wilson. Zappacosta tidies up. They've recovered possession, which is concerning. I thought that was going to be a highlight for us. Giroud may have gotten himself in behind here. He's shaken off Gibson, and he's found the finish on his left foot. An assist from David Luiz. Not the best football you're ever going to see Chelsea play, but goddamn, they're 2-0 up inside half an hour, which is very disappointing. What we might do is just adjust our tactics and go back to standard until half-time. And I think that's probably the most effective option to stem this flow of goals. And then at half-time, we fire a rocket, tell everyone they're shit, and then move back into an attacking structure and see if that helps at all. So Mings not having a good game, Maguire's not having a good game. Pretty much our whole backline is struggling at this point. They've got the possession again, 36 minute. Cahill splits the ball out, Fabregas. No one's moving towards him, which is disappointing. You'd like to see Sermon press up a little bit higher. Cahill now, it's Grealish. Cook's won the ball back and put a ball in behind for Wilson. Can he get through and find the finish? It's a great strike and it's just past the far post. Would have been good to pull one back there, but it wasn't meant to be. Really struggling in defence, so not sure. I might have to talk to them directly at half time. Oliver Giroud with a double and an 8.7. Really the only Chelsea player that's rocketing out ahead. Alonso's not had a bad game. Lewis and Rudiger seem to be dealing with most things at the back. Ashley Barnes looks furious as we head into half time. Dressing room. Tell the boy. Okay, Jason Tyndall is a fucking idiot. Tell the boys they did well and that their efforts were excellent. Aggressive. That was absolutely terrible. Your performance has been extremely poor. Let's take off Callum Wilson because he's not responded well to that and wasn't playing particularly well in the first place. We'll bring Danny Ings on. Let's go to the defence and assertively say, you weren't that bad, but I believe you can still improve. I have faith in you. And they all look happy or fired up. I think they were all already happy and fired up. Let's just talk to the attack as well and say, you've been unlucky so far, good effort. And that one hasn't worked either. So I made a halftime sub, which traditionally I forget about by the 60th minute and then make another two and wonder why I don't have another sub left. But if we can get some sort of response out of everybody here, a defeat puts us 8 points behind Crystal Palace with 6 games remaining for that 5th spot, which is in reality what I think we should be aiming at. And it puts us even 4 points behind the likes of Tottenham and Liverpool for 6th and 7th places. So European football, that window closes even more. Or I guess the only way we could really make Europe is by winning the FA Cup, which is a whole other equation, but we'll see what happens. They've made a sub now. Timo Babayoko's come on for N'Golo Kante, who was having just an okay game. Nothing horrible, nothing interesting. Let's jump into our tactics, and I'm actually going to pause the match as well. Harry Maguire's not had a good game, so we're going to bring Cook back into the centre of defence, and we'll bring on Simon Francis on the right-hand side. Sessegnon's not having the best game, so we'll bring on Pugh for the left wing. And that's it. That's the last of the subs I can make. So I'm going to risk it to get the biscuit by making all 3 of my subs within half an hour remaining. And fingers crossed, no one does anything silly. There's nobody currently sitting on a yellow card, so I guess there's no real danger of anyone getting sent off. And then the other portion, again, I forgot to hit play. I do that every fucking time. And hopefully nobody gets injured. Fabregas with the corner in now to Hazard at the top of the box, who's been quiet, and his strike from distance is just over. Hazard usually tears me apart, so at least we've been dealing with the inside forwards as well as we can. Or maybe we haven't. Maybe we have been horrible and we just haven't seen it because it's not coming up on highlights. Let's go attacking for the last 20. I was going to do it at half time, and then I talked myself out of it. Not literally, internally. We're better than 9th. We're better than Leicester. Let's call a spade a spade. We've been better than Liverpool. We beat them 5-0. We beat Tottenham 2-0. Crystal Palace we've only played once, and I believe it was a draw. No, we lost that game, actually. It was 3-2. It was fucking devastating because we were... No, it was 3-3, wasn't it? And we were 3-0 up at half-time. They came back in the second half. I think that was right. And there doesn't seem to be much going on here. Do I have time to use a shout and just say push forward? That doesn't seem to have done anything. We're into extra time now. 2 to be added on. And I dare say this is going to be the last highlight of the game. Rudiger with the ball forward. Lewis Cook looks for Grealish on the right. Get the ball in, lads. Lewis Cook again. Just panics, it looks like. Sermon's going to tidy up. Ings now has got an overlapping run. He ignores it. Or he didn't ignore it. He just played a shit pass. Ball forward to Giroud, who's still on a hat-trick. And Gibson tidies up there. Sermon, can he find Barnes? Looks for Ings. He's not quite gotten in behind. Come on, lads. Get the ball in the box. Get the ball in the box. Okay, we're outside of the allotted injury time, and the referee doesn't even let us take the free kick. Oliver Giroud is the difference maker today. 9.0 rating for him with 2 goals. Relatively even shots. We actually didn't do too badly. 50% of our shots on target. Had more fouls. No yellow cards. Very clean game. They had 52% possession. But what should I do? Should I say we were underdogs and you gave it your best effort, good effort, or unlucky? I'll go with underdogs, only because I don't want to destroy momentum, but I really thought we could get something in that game. We're quite good at home. So disappointing way to finish the episode. Poor finishing cost Bournemouth dear in a 2-0 defeat. Oliver Giroud, fair enough, credit to him. 2 goals in 2 minutes around the half an hour mark, and that was enough to get them through. Let's go and have a look at our schedule. I didn't really want this series to become such an FA Cup centric episode, but it looks like it's kind of going to give us the most entertaining content that is available. I'm in two minds though. Do we play the Arsenal game beforehand and then the Man City game and do an episode that's like us against the big boys, or do we do the Man City game and then play West Ham after and see how it lines us up for the last 3 games of the season and where we can possibly finish? Because what's going to happen, we're either going to beat Man City and the last game of this season will be the FA Cup final, and Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final becomes a very interesting last episode, or we lose to Man City and then the last game of the season becomes Man City and Crystal Palace. Alright, screw it, let's do it. Let's do Man City, the FA Cup semi-final is the first game of the next episode, and then let's play West Ham after that, and we'll try and fit as much of this last little run, this last month, as we can in there. So disappointing, started really well, 2-0 win in the FA Cup against Charlton, albeit away from home, and then kind of a disappointing 2-0 loss to Chelsea. But our form hasn't been terrible, given everything that we've tried to do and cram into one season in terms of transfers and systems and whatever else. We aren't doing terribly, and not forgetting that all the teams that we're competing with here, Leicester, Liverpool, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, they are sides full of international talent. We're just using English players, and we're bringing through some very talented English players. If you look at Lewis Cook, Ryan Sessegnon, these are young players that we'll have now for the next 4 or 5 seasons if we get through that far in the game before FM19 comes out. But I do hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. I'm really, really enjoying it, and I hope that's coming through in a lot of the videos and that it is engaging content and that you guys do enjoy watching it. If you have any feedback, chuck it in the comment section below. If you ever want to reach out to me on Twitter, absolutely do that as well. More than happy to jump on and do like a draft mode against a fan, or not even recording it for YouTube. I'd like to engage with the community as much as humanly possible. I'm involved in other Football Manager communities on places like Sorted Out SI or FM Scout or FM Base, and of course fans of other content creators and their relevant Discord channels. So if you have anything at all, please feel free to reach out. More than anything though, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you guys are enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date on future videos as they come out, or you can follow In The Mixer on Twitter. There will be a link in the description below. I hope you're enjoying whatever cherry related track I've downloaded for this particular episode, and I'll see you guys again in the mixer.